For the SHOO FLY block, in the description I'll put the exact sizes of squares that you need. I started with pre-cuts 5-inch squares. I have 6 background squares and 3 colored squares. To make this block, we are going to start with making a couple of half square triangles. On 2 of the background squares, I'm drawing a line diagonally. Next, we're going to pair a colored square with one of our background squares. We're going to place right sides together. We will take this to the sewing machine, sew a 1/4 inch away from that line on both sides. And here you can see my finished stitched lines. You can use a rotary blade or scissors to cut these pieces apart. Then we're going to press each of those halves open to the darker side. And now we have 4 half square triangles. Since I started with 5-inch squares, these are going to be trimmed to 4.5 inches. I use the diagonal line on my ruler. I lay that on top of that seam, and then I trim that block first on 2 sides, then on the other 2 sides to trim it down to 4.5 inches. Since I was using pre-cuts of 5 inches, I needed to trim down the rest of my pieces to 4.5 inches. So I went ahead and trimmed down my background squares and that one colored square that was left down to 4.5 inches. To lay out this SHOO FLY block, I put a colored square in the middle, and I surrounded that with 4 background squares for sort of making a T. And then I put the half square triangle blocks on each corner with the darker triangle facing in to match the center square. To assemble this finished block, I did it by rows. I sewed the 3 blocks on each row together separately. Then I sewed each of the 3 rows together. I did press the rows with the seam facing toward the darker fabric. And here you can see the direction those seams are facing after I press them. And we do this in order to make our seams match up a little bit more nicely. When I nest seams, I like to flip, then I slide over until I feel those seams catching, and then I will put a clip right on top of that seam. Here's a close-up, and you can see how those seams are pressed down in opposite directions, making it easy to nest them. Once I had those clips where I wanted them, I took this project to the sewing machine and stitched a 1/4 inch seam to put these rows together. I pressed open my rows, and my SHOO FLY block currently measures 12.5 inches. When it is sewn to other blocks, the finished size will be 12 inches square. Thanks for joining me today on this little tutorial. I hope you had as much fun as I did and can see the possibilities of this very versatile block. And I hope to see you back again real soon.